So we're good to go. So I just wanted to welcome everyone to today's webinar tour of Green Learning. We're so excited. This is the first tour that we're doing this year, so it's very exciting to have all of you join us today. And so I'd like to welcome you and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. And we've got a 30-minute agenda, and it's really packed because we want to take you through all of our programs, and we're really excited about it. So I just wanted to start with an introduction to Green Learning for those of you who aren't familiar with the organization. Green Learning has actually been around for quite a while, since the 1980s, where we were founded in Drayton Valley, Alberta in the early 80s in response to a sour gas plant explosion that happened in northern Alberta and Drayton Valley. And the community got together and founded the Pembina Institute, of which Green Learning was a part. And we became a charity in 2010 and have been working really hard since 2010 to engage youth across the country and teachers in really exciting environmental education programs, mainly focused on energy, climate change, and moving towards a green economy. So we've got a number of Green Learning team members on the call today. There's 6 of us. Jamila, who's our communications coordinator, Christina, who runs our energy programs, and Marcus, our program director, Dick Holland, who's a curriculum consultant and a writer with Green Learning, and Stephen, who is our e-learning expert. I think I covered everybody, and myself, I'm Mary, and I'm the executive director of Green Learning. So essentially, Green Learning's goal is to make environmental education accessible and fun while having an actual impact on the environment and in our communities. So we want to make it easy for teachers to do their job and to meet the curriculum requirements in your province in a really hands-on way for your students. So with better teaching and better learning, we'll have a better future. And our website is totally packed with education materials and activities, many of which we won't get to in today's webinar tour. We're going to touch on some of the top ones and some of the most popular ones, some of our newest stuff. So I encourage everyone to explore the website at your leisure, and we'll be posting some links. And go pour yourself a glass of wine, have a cup of tea, go through the website, and hopefully you'll find lots of great stuff. So I'm going to pass it over to Marcus Ginder, our program director, who's going to continue to take us on the tour.
Thanks, Mary. I appreciate that. So we're going to get started. We have a jam-packed schedule, so please let me be your tour guide for our 30-minute ride through Green Learning's myriad and large volume of education materials and programs. We're going to be looking at where you can register and what's available and sort of timelines and such. So just to frame a little bit about Green Learning, all of our material is free and open source. Generally speaking, we have 3 sort of program areas that you can look at. One is climate, one is energy, and one is economics. So there are 3 sort of subject areas that most of our materials fit under. You can search by grade or topic. So if you're teaching a specific grade, should be fairly easy to find the materials that would best suit you. Or by that same measure, if you know what topics you're going to look at, you can identify that. We also strive where we can to sort of build in the curriculum connections to make your job a little bit easier and allow you to see where those learning opportunities are, and not have to sort of pull yourself off your own sort of programs and goals and curriculum requirements. I guess the final point I wanted to ask is that for teachers that do get involved or participate or are involved using our modules or educational materials, we do love to hear what you think of them and how we might be able to improve the materials. We believe that only by learning from what we do and getting an understanding of how these materials are being used, can we improve them and make them better for you and your students. So I won't drone on. I'll be back a little bit later in the program to sort of go through some other programs, but I just wanted to let you know that we will be looking at registrations, prizes, and challenges at the end, and how they link to the different program materials will be discussed today. And also that we'll be doing the draw at the end of the second webinar for the $100 gift certificate. So we'll let you know. And if you're on the second webinar, you'll probably see that draw happening. That would be it. And I want to pass the baton to Christina Johnson, who is our education program manager, and she'll run through some of the site's features and materials that are available. Thank you, everyone, and good luck. Christina, you there?
Yep. Thank you, Mark. I am going to share my screen, so let me just get that open for you so we can go right to some of the websites here. Hopefully everybody can see that okay. So I'm going to start by talking about Re-Energy. Re-Energy is an awesome program that we have. It's got 4 different modules, each based on a different type of renewable energy. And the great thing about this is that it actually has construction plans to build the actual model. So instead of just learning about the type of renewable energy and why it's important and what it is, your students can actually build it. So it's a great STEM activity. And it's also a great way to collaborate with some of the other classes. So you might want to get, like, if you're in high school, like the shop class to help you build part of the model. Or if you're doing a solar oven, you could go to the food prep class and ask them to get the food for you. So great way to combine some different classes there. And if we take a look at, say, the wind turbine construction plan here, you can see it's really robust. It covers everything from the background information, the safety precautions, tells you the tools, which, like you can see, there's not too many complex things there, the materials, and the templates as well. And you can see each step of the way, there's lots of visuals when we get to the construction steps. There's pictures so that there's no sort of uncertainty about what exactly it is that you're supposed to be doing. And it goes all the way until the end here where your wind turbine is created and the LED light is on. And we even provide you with troubleshooting tips and gives you the probable cause and suggested solutions. So really great guide. Each construction plan for each of those 4 types of modules are available. We also have a lot of really cool interactive components to this program as well. This, for example, is how does a wind turbine work? So this really engages the kids. They can click on how the different types of wind direction affects the amount of energy that's produced. The wind speed, for example, as you go through this, we'll put up the different components to the questions here. And then it goes in depth and shows you the different components of the more commercial types of wind turbines. So really great way for students to get engaged. Now, also as part of Re-Energy, like I said, we talk about the solar oven. And we're going to be talking a lot about solar ovens next week. In support of Science Literacy Week, we're going to be doing 2 webinars live on Facebook, one on a Thursday and one on Friday. So if you would like to join us and see what it's like to make a solar oven firsthand, we encourage you to log into Facebook at 12 Eastern. Or if you're not available at that time, send us an email at info@greenlearning.ca like you did today, and we'll get you a recording of that. The other thing that's part of Re-Energy is a solar oven challenge. This is an awesome challenge that takes place every year in the spring. So keep in touch with us by signing up for a newsletter or liking us on Facebook or Twitter for the information about this year's challenge. We've got a great tutorial here to show you how to build a solar oven as well as a construction plan as well. So this is a great way to win cool prizes and learn about renewable energy. Brings kids from all over Canada together to compete in this friendly challenge. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is Energy Revealed. Energy Revealed is a new program that we're just launching in Alberta. This is a pilot program in Alberta right now. And it's really awesome because we're making energy visible in schools. So really great way for, again, the kids to see firsthand why it's important to be energy efficient. So instead of just saying, turn off the lights, it helps, with energy efficiency. they'll actually have access to data that is from their school, and to actually see what their energy use is in their school. And then when they come up for an energy efficiency program, how that actually affects directly their school's energy usage. This is year 1 of a 3-year pilot program. We're hoping to make it national in 3 years. So again, keep in touch with us so that we can inform you how this program is progressing. We'd love to have you involved, and we're really excited about this. Since this is a pilot program this year, we're going to be using some of the programs that we already have, since we have so many different energy programs already. So for example, we have real world energy here. And this is another, again, great way for kids to get engaged in energy efficiency. And so, for example, here your students can see the different types of lights that they're used to seeing in the school, the T8s, the T12s, understand how they're efficient or not. And this one also has a calculator as well to estimate how much electricity is used in your school. So these are just sort of the tip of the iceberg of the energy programs that we have available. Again, all of these links that I showed you today are on greenlearning.ca, and we encourage you to take advantage of them and use them. And if you have any feedback, we always love to hear from you. So now I'd like to throw it over to Dick Holland, one of our education consultants, to tell us about more of our programs.
Thank you, Christina. I'm talking to you from Toronto here, and want to give you an overview of a few more of the programs. You're probably hearing all sorts of things, but know that you can, as Mary said, go back to the site and look at all of the things that are all free to use. A lot of them you'll be able to understand just by exploring, but the little run through here should help. So I'm going to share my screen here as well and show you some of the programs there. Okay, can you see that now? Is that good, Marcus?
Yep, it's coming through well.
Good. So this is our program page, and just gives you an idea of all of the things that have been referred to. I'm going to concentrate on 3 of the new ones, but you can see here, as Christina and Marcus and Mary were saying, there's all sorts of things that you can look at and explore. What I want to start with, or what I want to look at today, are 3 new ones that have just gone up after our work in the spring and summer, etc. All of our programs are come from interest in the field, new developments from ministries of education, new resources that are available, and through teacher surveys that we do. And then after working on them with curriculum specialists, writers, and web developer people all kind of working together, we come up with things that we can test in the classroom and then put up for you. The ones I want to talk about today are all related to climate and water, which unfortunately with Hurricane Florence in the news and all sorts of things we hear about are kind of top of mind. The first one, a little bit maybe lighter thinking in terms of our students thinking back to their summer recreation. This is one called Make a Splash, which concentrates on freshwater recreation and climate change, and some of the slow but now speeding up changes that climate change have brought to the whole world of freshwater recreation. Lot of references to things that we would do as Canadians in the summer, but also some winter recreation as well. So basically the idea is that we use in this one, and all of our modules have a slightly different angle. They are wide range. They all have a wide range of student interest and subject interest, but you know, you'll see particular differences, and you can see which ones fit your curriculum or your teaching style. This one takes a look at the utilizes the inquiry method, which is important and stressed in a lot of the provinces now, and we believe is a good model of learning for students. It particularly takes a look at, I'm just going to flip over to our teacher guide for a second, at what we call our spiral inquiry model. So instead of a linear thinking, we believe that inquiry goes through different stages and then sends students off with more thinking and with a call to action of some kind, and that would be appropriate to your class or whatever they're thinking. Certainly the model doesn't look unfamiliar to people that are familiar with inquiry, but gives you an idea of just sort of our take on it. So the Make a Splash, I would invite you to go to that section in this little video here. Gives us would give you a good introduction, but you can see that there's different aspects to it. A teacher's guide is there in all our modules, and there are whatever other links you need to the different aspects. I'll give you an example of what happens in this module. The students go through a spark of getting their inquiry thinking, and in groups start to begin to imagine the kinds of topics and local topics that are involved in freshwater for them, and that could be brainstorming anything from fishing to holidays that they take to water supplies, etc. And then either through their own inquiries or through the teacher suggesting, you've got a whole range of samples here that we've come up with. And for each one, you would get an example of an overview of the issue, some of the directions that would get them thinking, and then what we're calling Launchpad resources. So a series of links that would lead them to begin their own research. And the teacher's guide helps give the teacher an indication of the kind of support that she or he could give throughout. The second one related to climate and water, and again, top of mind these days is flooding. Obviously, this is a Canadian issue as well as, well, it's a worldwide issue, but certainly we've seen it in Canada as well. And this one takes a focus of school preparedness. So what's the idea of the kinds of things that we can do, hands-on ideas for things that we can do to take a look at flooding and getting ready for floods. So when you launch the module, you get an overview of the different activities. This could be something you and your students could look at. You could do some of these. They're not, there's a reasonable logic to them, but you wouldn't have to do all 7 of them. Again, teacher's guide, curriculum connections are listed there. And then you could take a look at these different resources. They're very much, I'll give you an example of one. They're very much things that you would work on with the students, or the students could work on almost independently. They have worksheets involved that help. This one involves some simple computations and then some discussion. This one also shows you an example of something that's part of most of our modules, and that is the possibility of the use of social media. In this case, it was to send your permeability notes to us, and we can aggregate some of those across the program, but there also could be social media links for the students to post examples of their work, etc. Third one I wanted to take a look at was the Come Alive module. This is one that's aimed at younger students and looks at the whole issue of water and farming and food and the intricate connections that are there, with 2, I think, special sort of focuses. One is that the students really get a chance to do some of these things, like growing some plants, like making clay models, this kind of thing, but also that it really gives an idea of how all this is affected by climate change. So instead of a standard kind of unit that would ask students to grow things and make observations, although it does that, they also are connected to age-appropriate ideas of what climate change could mean for that. So when you launch the module, you're going to see that there's a whole series of activities there. And again, they could be pursued linearly or they could be done independently. And it's easy to just go in and look over those. I'll just show you one peeking behind my camera thing here. The water cycle one. So the idea is that you've got a digital module here, not something that needs to be printed out and sorted and paper wasted, etc., but something that interacts on its own. Students could be using this. You could be showing it in the classroom. They could be working on it. This one particularly gets them to look, and I'll click on this little info button, not only at things like the water cycle, but also in this case, actually asks them to build a model of a water cycle and invites them to send photos of that or a video of that to our Impact Center or to share it on social media if that's appropriate to what your classes do. So I really wanted to give you a chance to, as a really quick overview, as Marcus said before, but of the in-depth nature of these, of how rich they are. They're flexible so that you can spend a little less time, but they're certainly in-depth if you want to make them a whole unit. And many of them end with a culminating activity. Recently, we've named these Green Learning Challenges, but throughout our module, there's culminating activities you could use for your assessment. And they're all, because they're developed by teachers like us, they're connected curriculum, and all the language will be familiar to you, and the student side very student-friendly. So I think that's it for me, Marcus.
Yeah, thanks, Dick. That's wonderful. It's so much material, and these are 3 new modules. There's also others online, but this is the latest offering by Green Learning. I'm going to jump really quickly into that's interesting. I'm going to share my screen. Not sure that's correct. Jamila, can you help me share my screen here, or? Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to get the screen up here. It says share screen.
What are you trying to pull up?
My browser. This will be. I guess this won't do.
What's Microsoft?
Browse.
No. Not sure. It should have been pulled up already.
It's already, but it's behind here.
It's not there.
Interesting. Could we share screen in here? Well, while we're struggling to find my online version of Lending a Hand, so the third pillar of our work is economy, and Lending a Hand is an excellent digital module that if you go online, you'll be able to see and walk through. It's fairly simple and straightforward, and you can walk through the program. In essence, what it does is it allows your class to be involved in raising funds and through school fundraising programs, and then to use that money to go through microfinancing programs. Oh, here we are. Microfinancing programs, so this is Lending a Hand. And to be able to sort of access around the world opportunities to use that money they raised to fund small businesses in other countries, and then to bring that information back. We've in the past in our Lending a Hand challenge in the 2019 program, we'll be matching funds that students raise. Then they donate or lend those funds to programs through microfinancing sites, and from there, they get to see how small amounts of money can make big differences on an international level. that we match that funding, and we do an exhibition at the end of the season where all students can see together what they've done, what they've funded. And at the end, we have a little pizza party to reward the kids for their work. And over the last 3 years, we've raised more than $12,000 and donated to more than 45 different small businesses around the world. So that's a quick summary of Lending a Hand. Thank you for helping me out on the digital screen share there. And the final piece here, and we're really running out of time, so I want to make it really quick, is the News Sparks. They're available on the front page of the website, you will see. And they're small, digestible pieces that a teacher can use with their students. We have one that's come out very recently in the last week or so, and then 4 from last semester that run through the gambit of issues. And generally they try and capture current affairs. They break the issue down to small bite-sized pieces and then give the materials and questions that a teacher could use to lead a class through a discussion of those issues. We have the references, the news coverages, YouTube and video links and such. So I wanted to just run through this really quickly as we're coming to the end of our time here. And so News Sparks, I think we'll be updating on a fairly regular basis, 2 or 3 per month, to just give teachers and students a chance to sort of dive into what's happening in Canada on environmental issues. Is there any questions we could take in the last couple of minutes of this session, and then I'll run through that last slide. Any questions at all? Feel free to ask. Well, I think that means we've done well describing the programs, but if you do have any questions, we are available. You can call directly. You can email us, and we're more than happy to answer any questions. If you do use our materials, we would love to hear back on how effective they were, what you found was the highlights, and maybe even the things you'd like to see improved to make them better for you. The final slide here will be a bit of a description of sort of what's to offer, what's the next steps here for teachers. We have a solar oven challenge next year, and with a prize of $500. We have the Lending in Hand. You can register. So all this material, these programs are free. And all we ask is that people register, because even though they're free, we do have limited space. So sooner you register, sort of the better it is for you and for us as well. So the Solar Oven Challenge, the Lending a Hand Challenge for next year. And I wanted to draw your attention to an organization we partner with in Alberta that has a prize of $1,500 and $1,000 and $500. They're doing climate change education, or how to teach climate change in the classroom. And the school or the teacher that brings the most teachers to their seminars is eligible to win $1,500, $1,000, or $500 to work with climate change in their school. So that sort of runs through the challenges and the prizes. We also have a webinar next week that you can register for, where we're going to describe how to build solar ovens and run through sort of what you can use, how they can cook and where they can cook. And we will be drawing, as I mentioned, we'll be drawing the gift card at the end of the next webinar, and we'll notify whoever wins that of the fact that they won a $100 gift card. So on that note, I think we're finishing this session on 1 minute over, which I think is a bit of a achievement given the amount of content we have, and we hope we haven't sort of overwhelmed you with the material. So do take some time to sit back with the website and peruse it at your own leisure, and get back to us with any questions you might have. On that note, thank you very much, and have a great day.